All right, good morning. So, one thing I really love is I love a good challenge. And one of my friends, Chris, he runs a bike shop up in Salt Lake, Salt Cycles. He was telling me, "Hey, you should check out Ice House. I think you'd really like it. It's an amazing climb." And when I first saw it, I was like, "Wow, this is chunky." We watched a couple videos on it, and I was like, "Wow, that's actually pretty cool." And then I tried it out for myself, and I was like, "Wow." What this reminds me of is right as I turned like an expert racer. It was like one of my very first expert races, and it was in Moab, Utah, and we ended up doing Jacob's Ladder. And here I was, this little punk 15-year-old kid, and what I ended up having to do is they had us ride our bike on the backside of this mountain, and then we eventually had to push our bike or climb up it with putting our bike on our back. And since I was so small, I could barely lift my bike. And I think the climb was about 3/4 of a mile, and it was so brutal. Anyways, when I did this the first time, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. It's a really big challenge, and another guy that I know, Pierce Kettering, who is actually really good at technical riding, he said, if you can clear the whole thing, kudos to you. So I was like, well, I'll take on that challenge. I'll see if I can do it. But this whole area is like super beautiful. You can see, those red rocks in that landscape. And then you have the beast right here, which is going up this. But I've ridden, so far I think I've been able to ride about 80% of it. So I'm working on this other 20%, see if I can get that. And yeah, we'll go from there. But I'm going to kind of walk you through and show you what is going on with this trail, because it is gnarly. I think the hardest thing about it is that there's a lot of loose rock, a lot of like baseball sized rocks. But I love challenges like this. And I think the reason why I like it so much is that, sometimes I think throughout my life, there's been this kind of thing of, is this even possible? Am I capable to do this? And I think that's one thing that I've really come to learn and love about Strava, is that the competition aspect of it is that, people will set a record, and I know it's a trail that I've ridden a lot. Maybe I had the record before. And when people get it, I'm like, wow. Sometimes they beat it by a couple minutes. I'm like, is that possible? And believing that that's possible, and then also attempting it that as if it were possible and that you could actually do it. I think that's the coolest thing. And so that's really what I'm focused on, is doing those things and trying those things that are challenging, and get me to rethink the way I do it, to how can I make it possible, and writing it or doing it in a way that you do the work in believing that you will succeed. And that's so huge. And so that's really what I want to focus on today. But I'm gonna walk you through this trail and how crazy it is. It is really rocky, but yeah. So in the next video, I'm going to show you the actual trail. I just kind of want to give you a precursor, a little bit of background onto what it is that I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But my goals right now are that here I am, 43. I just hit 43. And I was an avid pro racer for many, many years. And it wasn't till, what was it? 2022, 2023. It was 2022. And I ended up, I'm always looking for ways. So I got in a really bad ski accident, and it caused me a lot of brain trauma. And because of that, I've always been looking for ways that I can actually reactivate my brain, get it to work at a higher level, and to heal those places, those neural pathways that were damaged when I got in my ski accident. So one thing I did was hyperbaric chamber treatments. And for the first couple weeks, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I could feel a big difference because of the oxygen that was actually going to my brain. But after those first couple weeks, the third week, I noticed a huge shift, and it was actually I got oxygen toxicity, which makes it so that I would actually work out really, really hard, and then my muscles would get pumped, but then they wouldn't contract for a long time, and it kind of got me scared. I was like, what's going on? And so I started to dive more into it, and then I got back into racing that same year, and it was a struggle. Here I was, competing previously at the pro level and doing really well, competing for a lot of podiums, and that year I was just fighting not to get dead last. And so there's a huge shift in health and everything, and so I'm just really learning how to listen to my body, and I want to get back on top. I think that's a good goal for me to have, is learning how to reapply myself. And here I am in my 40s, and that might, a lot of people say, oh, you're cooked, and a lot of people that race pro on the pro circuit, they start to lose their edge, and then eventually they'll retire because they just can't keep up with the young guns. And I'm very curious. I want to see I'm kind of on this journey to see like what things I can do to actually compete at the pro level and be able to get on a podium again, even though I'm in my 40s. So I'm excited about this, and I'd love for you to follow me on my journey. And any insight that you have, maybe you're in your 40s, or maybe you found things that help you to shift your perspective to do things a little bit different. And we'll go from there. But thank you so much for watching. And this next video, I'm going to show you this climb and the brutality of it. So see me in the next video. Bye.